So in today's episode, I'm going to share 10 methods that you can use to ground yourself. And these are all going to help to reduce stress, anxiety, overwhelm, and to balance your energy. Welcome to Ebbs and Flows with Erin. In this show, we're getting real about navigating the ups and downs of life together. I'm your host, Erin, and we're ditching the pressure to have it all figured out along the way because honestly, nobody does. We'll explore all things healing, growing, creating, and connecting. And if you deal with anxiety, depression, being a highly sensitive person, or just feeling overwhelmed by life sometimes, I see you, and this show is for you. My intention with these conversations is simple: to leave you feeling empowered, validated, and most importantly, reminded that you are never alone, no matter where you're at on your own journey. Learning that we all have the power to heal genuinely changed my life. And the best part, healing does not have to be complicated. The smallest changes really can make the biggest impact, and it can be joyful, fulfilling, and something that we do together. So join me in getting real about what it means to heal. Thank you for being here, and now let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to Ebbs and Flows with Erin, or welcome back to Ebbs and Flows with Erin. Whether you are listening or watching over on YouTube, thank you for being here with me today as we are going to talk about grounding. You may hear the term grounding or being grounded often. Maybe you're not entirely sure of what exactly that means, or you are and you are interested in ways that you can ground yourself to reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, and to have you balanced in your energy and present in the moment, because when we are present, we are able to live our most optimal state of life. So, on that note, let's get into today's episode: 10 ways to ground yourself to reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, and what does it mean to be grounded? The definition of being grounded is to be connected to the earth and the properties of the earth, be connected to this physical realm, to have your energy connected to the energy of the earth, and to take it a step further, to recognize and be aware of the fact that we are the earth. The same energy that makes up this earth is the energy and elements that make up our beings. Being grounded means that you are rooted in the present moment, you're focused on the present, and that you are rooted in and connected to your own energy. Your energy is balanced. Now, what are the signs of being ungrounded or needing to ground? The most common are feelings of anxiety, worry, any form of fear or racing thoughts, spiraling thoughts, being stuck in a scarcity mindset or mentality, experiencing sleep struggles. Essentially, if you're experiencing any pain or discomfort of the mind or the body, you could use some of these grounding techniques to bring you back to earth, back into the present moment, and connected to your energy. So in the simplest terms, what it feels like to be grounded is balanced, connected to the present moment, and connected to the earth. So in today's episode, I'm going to share 10 methods that you can use to ground yourself. And these are all going to help to reduce stress, anxiety, overwhelm, and to balance your energy. As I've shared many times on this podcast, you want your energy to be balanced, because when it is unbalanced, this is where you experience pain of the mind, the body, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So working with your energy is going to be crucial in experiencing a positive shift in your mental, your physical, emotional health. And this doesn't have to be something that you have to work for a long time at. A lot of these work in the moment to bring you into the present moment and to ground you into the present moment. And then if you utilize some of these techniques more often, more regularly in your routine, that is where you may experience that you are able to feel grounded and be grounded more naturally, more easily, more accessibly to you if you are practicing some of these things on the regular. But I want to make it clear that you can use any of these in the moment of feeling overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, and you will experience a shift in your energy. And there is a lot of science and research behind the benefits of grounding and using grounding techniques. Research has shown that grounding can have a range of physiological effects on the body, including reducing inflammation, improving circulation, and balancing the autonomic nervous system, which I also want to mention that all of these grounding techniques are also techniques to regulate your nervous system, which we also have talked a lot about here and will continue to talk a lot about here, because the root of all ability to heal, grow, or change is working with your nervous system, which really just means you're working with your body and your energy, allowing your nervous system to more accessibly, naturally, and easily shift from the sympathetic fight or flight state or the freeze state and into the parasympathetic rest and digest state, which is the state that you have to be in order to calm, to be balanced, to heal, to create any sort of change in your mind or body. So, with that all being said, let's get into the 10 ways that you can ground yourself to reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. Number 1, I want to suggest connecting to your breath, because this is the most accessible to you in any moment, and our breath really is our most powerful tool that we always have access to in order to shift us into a different state and signal to our nervous system to shift out of fight or flight or freeze and into rest and digest. And as someone who has struggled with anxiety, as I've shared, been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, I, for so long, would get so annoyed by hearing or being told, you need to connect to your breath, you need to breathe more, you need to work with your breath. And for so long, that would trigger me because I was like, well, if I could, I would, but I can't. Because my breath was so shallow in my chest for so long. And I remember realizing at one point along my journey, like, wow, I actually do several times a day have to stop and remind myself to breathe, because I notice that my breath is so shallow in my chest and I haven't taken an audible exhale or inhale all day long. So I know it can be frustrating to hear if you deal with anxiety, but I can tell you now from the other side that it's true and it works. And there's a reason that it's so widely said, because it's a fact, it works. So connecting with your breath. There's many different breathing techniques or exercises you can use. The number 1 most quickly effective to shift you out of a stressed or anxious state and into a more calm state is called the physiological sigh. This has been largely spread by Dr. Andrew Huberman, who I often bring up here because I learn a lot from him and his podcast. But the physiological sigh is shown scientifically. If you want to hear the direct science behind it, I suggest you listen to his podcast. But I can tell you how the physiological sigh works. And I can tell you that it does work because I use it to ground myself very often. So the physiological sigh works by taking 1 deep inhale through your nose, followed immediately by a second sharp inhale through your nose, and then you exhale completely through your mouth, ideally through thinly pursed lips. So if you're watching on YouTube, you will see. If you're listening, it sounds like this. So in through the nose once deeply, second sharp inhale, and then exhale through the mouth. And do that as many times as you need to start feeling relaxed. It's so interesting how this works, because as humans, we automatically do this. Whenever we are in a really heightened, distressed state, we naturally start to do this. Think about any time maybe you or you've witnessed a child or someone is sobbing, crying, or is hysterical, and you start to immediately go like that is your body naturally doing the physiological sigh. So that is the number 1 breathing technique I want to suggest. Secondly, alternate nostril breathing or pranayama breathing, where, and I've shared this before on our nervous system regulation episode, you take 1 finger, you press on to plug one of your nostrils, say it's your left nostril, then you breathe in through your right nostril, and then you switch, you put a finger on your right nostril, you exhale through the left nostril, then inhale through the left nostril, switch fingers, close the left nostril, breathe out of the right nostril, and keep repeating that. And that is an effective breathing technique to use in moments of stress or anxiety, overwhelm, to calm you. And then lastly, there are many different breathing patterns or exercises you can use, but this is the last one I'm going to share here that I have found and learned to be most effective in moments of stress or anxiety, and that is the 7-4-8 breathing technique. Really, these numbers can be anything. The main goal is that you want your exhale to be longer than your inhale. So 7-4-8 is breathing in through your nose for 7 seconds, holding for 4, and breathing out for 8. What's most important to know here with the breathing patterns to shift you into a grounded state is that you need your exhale to be longer than your inhale. That is what's most important. And I just want to note, as someone with anxiety, if you find that you cannot have a deep or long inhale, you may want to try exhaling first before even inhaling. Try having a long, audible exhale, and you may find that you have more room to have a longer, deeper inhale. But I wanted to start off with the breath because it really is the most accessible, effective tool that we have direct access to at all times to shift us into a more grounded state. Okay, next method to ground yourself is spending time in nature. And the most common method that is shared when talking about grounding is to walk with bare feet in nature or stand with bare feet in nature. And I will say 1000% yes, this is my favorite way to ground in nature. But as someone who lives in a climate where for probably 9 months of the year, that maybe 9 months is dramatic, at least 6 months of the year, that is not really accessible because it's freezing cold and there's snow on the ground. So you don't have to be barefoot to ground outside. I just want to mention that. Of course, that is most ideal because you're in direct physical contact with the literal earth. But you can also simply sit outside, take in your surroundings, the sky, the trees, the plants, the birds, the fresh air. Take a walk outside, take a walk without any headphones in. And I love listening to music or podcasts as I walk outside, but I do have to say, when I take a walk to ground myself where I don't have any headphones in and I am really just taking in the sounds of nature and my surroundings, it is definitely the most effective to ground me into my energy, the earth, the present moment. But that being said, if you do really want to have your headphones in, you can be listening to a walking meditation or some sort of healing frequencies, or just a podcast that makes you feel good, music that makes you feel good. That's the other thing. A really important component of grounding is that you feel good, because as soon as you're feeling good, your vibration, your frequency is higher. And the higher the frequency and the vibration, the more connected you are to the earth, the present, and the fact that you are literally made up of the same elements as the earth, the universe. And that is raising, elevating your energy. And that is why no matter what, once you get outside or in nature, you pretty much automatically will start to feel a shift in how you feel. Because when we are connecting with the outdoors, connecting with nature, we are connecting with ourselves. We are meant to be spending time outside in nature. That is what we are meant to do as human beings. And we have just simply gotten away from that in today's world. There are so many other responsibilities, stressors, and the structure of society and how the world works where it's not exactly prioritized for us to be spending time outside. But if you can prioritize that for yourself, especially in moments or times of feeling heightened stress, anxiety, overwhelm, get outside. And even if you do, like me, live in a place where it can be freezing cold sometimes I will literally just open up my front or back door and allow myself to stand outside of it, or say it's a minus 30 degree day, stick my head outside of it and take in some deep breaths of fresh air, look up at the sky. Looking up at the sky It sounds so simple, but it is truly my favorite way to connect to the earth, to ground, to remind myself of how much bigger the world and the universe is than a lot of the problems that we face that bring us stress, anxiety, overwhelm. So that was a little bit rambly, but long story short, get outside. Doesn't have to be complicated, just get outside and allow yourself to take in your surroundings, the outdoors. Okay, my next grounding method is meditation, which again, we hear all the time how meditation is positive for our health and wellness. And one of my favorite things about taking my meditation teacher training is that I learned the science and the physiology behind why meditation is such a positive thing for our mental, physical, emotional wellness. And there is a lot of science and research behind the fact that it is good for you and that it allows you to shift into a grounded state, especially when you make a more consistent habit of doing so. But keep in mind that it does not have to be complicated. Even if you take 2 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, and you start really small, 2 minutes of just sitting in quiet and observing your thoughts is better than nothing. And then over time, you'll probably bump up to 5 minutes, let's say, and then 10 minutes. And then you don't want to make the goal off the bat, I'm going to do a 20-minute or half an hour meditation, because a lot of the time, if you make these big, more complex goals, it's more common to fall through on them because they are harder to do. And it's just a fact that things that are harder to do or are a bigger change, we are less likely as humans to stick to them or make a habit out of them. So if you're feeling stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, even taking 2 minutes, no matter where you are, if you're out in public, if you're at work, go into the bathroom and take 2 minutes just to sit in stillness, take some breaths, and that is going to make a difference. Research shows that meditation literally rewires your brain circuits. And yes, you will gain the most benefit out of it if you are making it a more regular element, habit of your routine. But in the case of today, where we're talking about grounding, in the moment of feeling stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, just know that you can take a few moments to be in stillness and it will shift you into a more grounded state. And if you do want to do a longer meditation, there are so many grounding meditations specifically out there, whether on YouTube, podcasts, meditation classes. There are so many specifically for grounding and of different lengths from 5 minutes to an hour. So meditation, you probably have heard it before, and I'm going to reiterate that it is a positive method to use for your overall health and wellness, but also to ground you. Okay, my next method for grounding is to cleanse your energy. So this can look like many things. You can simply close your eyes, envision a white bubble of light surrounding you as a shield around you, protecting and shielding your energy, and visualizing that this bubble is like an armor around you. Visualization can be very powerful. It might be something that doesn't sound like it to you, but I promise you, just give it a try and see how it works for you. I personally love this method for grounding, especially as being a highly sensitive, anxious person. A lot of the times before I go out in public or get out of my car to go somewhere in public, I will do a visualization of this protective bubble of light around me with the intention that it is protecting and grounding me in my own energy. You can simply visualize it. You can call in your spirit team, your guides, your angels, but it also can be as simple as visualizing the light and setting the intention that it is protecting you and your energy. To cleanse your energy or the energy of your space, you can do something like burning Palo Santo or sage or incense. These have cleansing properties and sends signals to your nervous system to relax and calm and shift into rest and digest. I use these methods almost daily. Again, as someone who is highly sensitive, Energy cleansing and grounding has become part of my daily routine because it's just a fact that as we go through our day-to-day life, there are so many elements of stimulation, energy, stressors, things that we are taking on energetically throughout the day that are not ours to hold. And so cleansing ourselves throughout the day in heightened moments, the beginning of the day, the end of the day, whenever feels right to you, having habits, rituals, methods you use to cleanse your energy is going to help with keeping you grounded and bringing you into a grounded state where you experience less anxiety, less stress, and less overwhelm. You can also engage in energy cleansing practices like having a Reiki session either channeled to you by a practitioner or master, or if you are certified in Reiki, doing a self-cleansing session. And another method of cleansing your energy is that you can wear or carry certain crystals. There are many different crystals that have properties known for grounding, especially black tourmaline, smoky quartz, obsidian, shungite. There are many. I personally like to go to my altar every morning and pick out a few crystals to carry with me throughout the day, depending on either what I'm feeling or experiencing, or sometimes just what I feel called to when I am looking at the crystals in the morning. But that is something that I do as well. Okay, what number are we on? 5. We're halfway there. Number 5 method to grounding yourself is to do something creative. Do something that makes you feel good and allows you to express your creative side. This is also something that has a lot of science and research behind the fact that connecting to our creativity and expressing our creativity has many benefits for our health and wellness and neuroplasticity, the ability to grow and change our brain. And this is something that I definitely will record future podcast episodes on: creativity, how to tap into your creativity, the power of expressing it, where I'll go into more detail of all this research, methods to use. I also want to do a review of Rick Rubin's The Creative Act because that book has so many gems in it when it comes to expressing your creativity. But yeah, creativity is going to ground you into the present moment and into your energy, because doing something creative shifts you into the rest and digest state, because you enter most likely a flow state and your brain is less likely to be ruminating, spiraling in these feelings of stress, anxiety, or overwhelm. So this can look anything like dancing, singing, drawing, painting, writing, playing music, making music, baking. There are really so many options when it comes to doing something creative, and it can be something that you know you like to do, or you can try something new. I know that Rick Rubin says that often when we hear of creatives or creativity, you can think that that is meant for people who are claimed to be or known to be artists, but the fact is that we are all artists. We are all creating with the decisions we make in our lives every day. So creativity, engaging in some sort of creative activity, is going to reduce your stress, anxiety, and overwhelm and ground you. And overall, it is going to be positive for your health and wellness. And this is something I look forward to talking more about on this podcast. Okay, number 6 method of grounding is to have an Epsom salt bath. This is my favorite thing in the world. I have always been obsessed with the bathtub and having Epsom salt baths. I always joke, but it's also a fact that I solve any inconvenience with having a bath, any problem, I'm going to the bathtub. I love the bath, and as a Pisces sun, a water baby, and a highly sensitive person, it makes sense because water is grounding and cleansing. And the Epsom salts have cleansing properties, so they are cleansing our energy and they're really good for muscle recovery. So everything about an Epsom salt bath is going to help to ground you. The water, the salt, and that you're taking time for yourself to care for yourself and slow down and sit in the bathtub. This is an amazing way to ground yourself. And if you aren't a bath person, I cannot relate, but you don't have to have a bath. You can also have a cleansing shower. So visualizing and setting the intention that this water during your shower is cleansing your energy, is washing away any negative, stagnant energy, the energy that is bringing on the anxiety, stress, or overwhelm, and it is cleansing you and grounding you into the earth, the element of water, and grounding you into your own energy. So grounding showers work really well as well. I just love the bathtub. Okay, number 7 is to utilize energy practices like tapping on different acupressure points along your meridians, which are your energy pathways, with your fingertips or your fist. I like to share simple energy practices over on Instagram. So if you're interested, you can follow over there. There are 3 certain points that I've shared before that I'll share again that are really good for shifting you into the rest and digest state, to giving you a boost in your energy and get your energy flowing the way that we need it to flow. And they are called the K27 points, which if you're watching on YouTube, I will show you. The K27 points are right underneath your collarbone, about an inch underneath your collarbone, where it meets in the center, the 2 knobs of your collarbone in the center of your chest, about an inch below those. And you tap with both hands of fingertips on these spots for either 30 seconds or as long as you would like. And the next point is your thymus point, which is the middle of your chest along your sternum. And I take a fist, I call it my Tarzan fist, and you can tap on this point. This point is directly connected to your vagus nerve, so you are actively stimulating your nervous system to shift into the rest and digest state. And then your spleen points. So these are under your armpit, kind of to the side of your chest from your thymus point. So I will show you. You tap on both sides underneath your armpit, and you can be moving up and down your side in this area. If you're not sure exactly where to hit, just tap up and down the side of this area on both sides. These are your spleen points. Those are the 3 best points to tap on to work with your nervous system in the moment, to shift your energy and get your energy flowing in a grounded state. But you also can benefit from tapping on your body everywhere and anywhere. Literally just taking your fist or fingertips and tapping all over your body, especially when you're feeling tense or stressed, anxious, overwhelmed. This is literally releasing stagnant, negative, blocked energy and getting your energy flowing and balanced. So tapping anywhere on your body. There's emotional freedom tapping, which is tapping on specific points while saying different mantras or affirmations, which I do love that too. But I also like to acknowledge that it doesn't have to be necessarily that structured or complex. Tapping anywhere and everywhere on your body is going to release negative, stagnant, blocked energy and get your energy flowing properly, shifting you out of tension, anxiety, stress, overwhelm. And tapping is so effective because as soon as you are tapping on your body, you are connecting your brain and your body, and you are literally rewiring your brain as you are tapping on your body. It's helpful for grounding because it's bringing you into the present moment, into your physical body. So I love tapping. If you have any questions about tapping or clarification that you would like, send me a message, a DM, an email, a comment, and I am happy to talk about it. Okay, number 8 method to grounding yourself is to connect with others. A lot of the time it can be easy to retreat or isolate, especially when we're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or anxious, but you want to challenge yourself. Not that you need to force yourself to always be around others. Alone time is also very much necessary, and more so for some than others. Connecting with others, whether you're sharing what you're struggling with or confiding in someone or you're laughing with them. Connecting in community, I've talked about it before, learned this from my therapist. We as humans literally require connection. Connecting with others is co-regulation. It is regulating to our nervous system, and we literally need it. So whether you're connecting with a safe person, safe people, people close to you, or you're connecting with community, so either in groups of people who share similar interests or similar struggles, or going back to creativity, maybe you are going to some sort of craft class or some sort of workshop class, getting out in community, connecting with others. It can be really easy in this world to fall into isolation. So I encourage you, if you are finding that you are in an ungrounded state, you're anxious, you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, and especially if you have been doing the other things on your own, like getting outside into nature, meditating, cleansing your energy, doing creative activities, but you're still finding that maybe you're struggling or that you're missing something, you're missing an element, something's just not fully clicking when it comes to grounding, try and connect with others, whether it's friends, family, a community. Give it a shot. Don't feel like you have to do everything on your own. And number 10, finally, on that note, is to connect with animals. I love this one. I am an animal lover. I do love animals more than humans. I love humans, but I really love animals. And I've, since the day I was born, felt the most connected to animals. And there is research that shows that simply petting an animal or being in the presence of an animal lowers the stress hormone cortisol and increases the feel-good hormone of oxytocin. So connecting with animals literally lowers our stress and makes us feel better. This is why having a pet, like a dog or cat, whatever pet you want to get or you have, you often hear people say that they saved their life, or they are their reason to live, or that they brought them out of a dark place, or that they have healthier habits since having them. So this is why things like therapy dogs or wellness dogs or equine therapy all exist, because it is a fact that connecting with animals literally, mentally, and emotionally heals us. So animals are healing and they are co-regulating. So again, back to what I was saying about learning from my therapist, that we literally as humans require connection. So we require co-regulation. And co-regulation can be done also through connecting with animals. So animals are healing, they are regulating, they need us, but we need them. And maybe you're in a situation where you just don't feel that you can own an animal right now. There are other ways you can volunteer at certain animal shelters or rescues. I do this twice a week at the local humane animal rescue team, and I'll often say it's like literally a form of therapy to me when I know that I am going connect with and interact with these rescue dogs, and especially seeing the improvement in the rescue dogs' demeanor and health and wellness over the time that they are in the hands of foster homes and the rescue, and then when they get adopted. Like, it is healing to be witness to the animals healing. So there are ways to connect with animals even if you aren't in a position to own your own. Okay, I hope that you can take something away from this episode. I hope that you feel encouraged to try out one or a few or all of these methods. Take what resonates with you or what you feel curious about. Leave the rest. These are just things that have worked for me and that I've learned about that have worked for others in grounding your energy, shifting you out of anxiety, stress, overwhelm, and into a more balanced, clear state, especially as someone who once lived in a primary state of anxiety and overwhelm. I can tell you that utilizing grounding techniques is life-changing for your health and wellness in all areas, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and it does not have to be super complicated. It can be helpful to keep a list of grounding techniques on your phone so that when you are in these heightened states of stress, anxiety, overwhelm, you can look to this list quickly to be reminded of techniques to use. And then over time, as you've been more regularly using grounding techniques, it will more naturally come to you to use in the moment. If you have any questions or you have some grounding techniques that I did not mention here. I would love to hear them, so please share them with me over on Instagram or send me an email, leave me a comment. Everything, as always, will be in the show description. Thank you for being with me here today. I'm sending a lot of love and gratitude, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.